just run behind everything, like the two ogres in this room. That is the most unique strat for over here. It's a little dangerous just in case one of them actually turns on them, but it definitely gives the teammates on the other side just free reign on the Thrall and the champions.
Alright, so it seems like they get a melt strat here.
So we saw Max's team, they kind of just, you know, slowly chipped away the boss until they were dead. We did the thing where as soon as they split, we melted them. We'll see if which way they go for here.
See, this being the first strike, they're not even phased by that. If this was the sixth strike, they'd be shaking.
Mm-hmm.
Having breakfast right now, Indica? Oh, okay. Join voice chat in like 45. Yeah, we'll probably still be working through this. So we'll do the post interview with you then.
I think all three have Izanagi, so Izanagi's definitely the best for this boss just because she moves around so much. Having a hit scan weapon is just going to be a lot easier than trying to lob nades at her.
For sure. I feel like the head's pretty generous too with the way it's shaped.
Mm-hmm. And both the first and second phase, as soon as she's visible, you can start shooting, like her little intro animation against shooters. So you can...
Indica says it's going to turn very funny in a sec.
Somebody's probably going to get launched.
Neither of them are. They're not really melting. So we got to hear about Odzot.
Alright, this one's a bread and butter nightfall, too.
And there was very little. Although dramatized, the following is a true story. Stockholm, December 22nd, 2000. Gentlemen, the Swedish National Museum. 90,000 square feet of priceless artwork. Only 2 roads in and out. The police will be ready. Walking away with the goods won't be easy.
Smash and grab job, huh?
Not quite. First things first, a distraction. At exactly 4:55 p.m., 5 minutes before the museum closes, we blow up 2 cars outside the Grand Hotel and the Strand. Naturally, fire trucks and police will be dispatched.
What about the guards in the building?
Only one. And he'll be busy ushering everyone to leave. Now, we get ourselves armed and approach. Meanwhile, 2 of us are already inside waiting for the signal. Once you hear those explosions, put on your balaclavas and take out guns.
Get down! They call it Mexico bomb!
Get on the floor! Don't move! So the standard disarm the guards and get everyone on the floor.
That's right. Then one of you stay in the lobby while the other 2 make your way upstairs and into the gallery. Now remember, gentlemen, no browsing. We're here for 3 paintings in particular. Conversation with the Gardener, and Young Parisian by Renoir, and a self-portrait by Rembrandt.
So how do we crack the safe?
There is no safe. No security cameras or alarms either. Wire cutters are all we need.
Amateurs.
We bag the goods and bust out the front door.
And we're just supposed to walk out of there with the 3 paintings and not get stopped?
Yep.
Won't take the police long to catch up.
That's what I'm counting on. A little surprise I prepared earlier. From there, it's an easy walk to the docks where we've got a boat ready. We skim around the waterfront and down the labyrinthine canals of Stockholm and make a beeline for Malar Lake. Then we dock in a quiet area and make it on foot back to the road.
Let me guess, you already have a car waiting.
Of course. We drive back to the city, get back to HQ, paintings in hand. And congratulations, boys. We've just robbed the Swedish National Museum for an estimated $30 million. And that's exactly how all of it played out. The next day, the police had cleaned up the torched cars, and they were questioning staff, getting any clues they could about the suspects. They didn't have any faces. They didn't have any DNA evidence. It was a professional job, and there was very little to go on. Until someone came forward. A witness. An old man. I was working on the river when I saw 3 lads speed off out of the area in an orange boat. Did you get a good look at him? No, but they seemed suspicious, so I followed him right through the canals into the Malar. And right to the shore where they parked their vessel and abandoned it. It's very Swedish. Can you show us where on the map? So the police sent out a couple of cars and found the boat. Here it is. Nothing inside. No paintings, detective. Damn. What about the registration? Nothing, sir. Well, I guess the only thing we can do is put out a picture of the boat and ask the public for help. So they published pictures of the boat in the local newspaper and asked people to come forward with information. The next day. Oh, that's my boat. The boat owner paid the police a visit. I'm Pa Lundmark, and that's my boat. What happened? We'll ask the questions. Well, I just sold the thing last week to 3 chaps who looked a bit suspect. Did you get their names? Afraid not, sorry. Although, when I sold the boat to them, they asked if they could use my trailer to transport it. And? Well, I said yes, but only if they gave me their phone number for safety. Well, have you still got it? Yep, here it is. I wrote it on the back of the receipt. And this is where everything unraveled for the thieves. Because despite all of this Ocean's 11 style bullshit, they had used their real phone number. So police looked up the number and everyone they had called. We've got a match. The number was connected to a gang of petty thieves. They were not big-time criminals. They had done small stuff like car thefts, drug peddling, and so on. They were not criminal masterminds. This thread of evidence led to 2 men serving sentences in a minimum security prison 10 miles from Stockholm. A Russian named Alexander Petrov and a Swedish national named Stefan Nordstrom. But wait, these men were behind bars. They have an airtight alibi, right? Well, turns out they are considered low-risk prisoners, which means they are allowed weekend furloughs. Essentially, they're just doing jail as a day job. And while good boy Petrov had returned from his weekend away, Nordstrom had not. So police went to work searching Nordstrom's empty cell. Aha! Lo and behold, Nordstrom had been doing a bit of light reading. Collections of newspaper clippings from past art heists. Very subtle. On top of that, Nordstrom had reportedly been visiting a bunch of auction houses in the area. They were clearly the painting bandits. Now, here's the thing about art thievery. It's a difficult game. Unlike jewelry or other valuable goods, you can't just offload these anywhere. You need a buyer who has a lot of cash and is willing to take a huge risk themselves. Possession of stolen property is a crime, and they wouldn't be allowed to keep the paintings if word ever got out. So essentially, they had $30 million in unsellable goods.
So, what do we do?
Oh, we could sell it to a billionaire in China.
Okay, do you know any?
No.
Yeah, I thought so. So shut the fuck up and think of something better.
Why don't we just ransom it back to the museum?
That's not the worst idea in the world.
December 28th, 2000. 6 days after the robbery. Petrov's lawyer approaches the police station. Hello. Yes, hello. I am here on behalf of my client, and acting as an intermediary. We have your paintings. Go on. I am here to negotiate it safely to your return. For a modest sum. Uh-huh. Interesting tact. This is, of course, completely illegal. Lawyers can't just negotiate ransoms for their clients. Got any proof you have the paintings? Right here. The attorney then revealed hostage-style photos of the stolen art, complete with that day's newspaper. Right. So who are these clients of yours? Can't say. Lawyer-client confidentiality and all that. Right. Well, let me just have a chat with my supervisor. The police feigned interest, but there was no way they were going to pay a ransom when they could simply catch the guys. So instead, they stalled and placed a surveillance team on Petrov for the next time he met with his attorney. A couple of days later, that meeting took place. And surprise, surprise, they're not alone. Nordstrom had turned up as well. Wait for it.
See you soon. Take care.
Now, go, go, go.
The police moved in on Nordstrom.
What the? No, I'm innocent.
Save it for the judge. Ah, what do we have here?
Those aren't mine.
In a moment of sheer genius, Nordstrom had decided to bring with him a bag filled with Polaroids of the stolen paintings. Is this how you get your kicks? I'm gonna be sick. Get these to the lab. Later, the lab found Petrov's fingerprints all over the Polaroids. With this evidence, they obtained a warrant to raid a cellar that the gang frequented. Look everywhere. They may have left the subtlest of clues. Anything that can even give us a scrap of... Detective? Here's a date book literally showing all of the details of the heist, including all of the co-conspirators. Nice work, Detective. Thanks, Detective. Hey, do you know what time it is? Is it? It's time for a montage. In all, police arrested and charged 13 for the heist. Nordstrom received 6.5 years. Petrov received 8.
Spieß.
3 others were given between 2 and 4 years for accessory, and 3 more men received sentences for up to 4 years for receiving stolen goods, and 5 more were accused and subsequently acquitted. One of them included Petrov's criminal lawyer, who was charged for accessory to attempted extortion for his involvement in putting forward the ransom note. Well, we got the bad guys. But there was a problem. They hadn't recovered any of the paintings. They had searched the cellar top to bottom, the homes of the criminals. They had questioned all of them, and no one was giving up the goods.
Lohan.
What is it, honey? Is it the paintings again?
I just can't stop thinking about it. They're out there somewhere.
Just come back to bed.
No. I think I'll go for a walk. Couldn't sleep either. No time. Rumors are circulating that Renoir's The Conversation is going up for sale. Count me in, detective. I just have to get suited up. You're gonna need something a little less official. We're going undercover. Ad time. Okay, quick hypothetical. Let's say you were single, and I also happened to be single, and we were browsing the web together, right? And then you said, "Oh, let's go on this website." Would you let me use NordVPN? Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not being serious. Although, okay, you're drowning, right? And I rescue you, and you don't have a boyfriend. And I'm like, "Oh no, I have to give you mouth to mouth, or you'll die," right? You'll die. And I don't know how. And I want to Google it. But I'm worried about my data falling into the wrong hands. Could I use NordVPN then for 70% off? No, wait. Okay, we're in the Amazon forest, and we're like walking together, but not too close, obviously. And a snake bites you. Oh my god. And I have to suck out the poison. But then I remember watching this documentary, right? And it was on like snake bites and stuff. And I'm gonna watch it again, and I'm gonna save your life. Oh my god, it's region locked. Would you mind if I slipped in a little NordVPN? Not even for 70% off? No, I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing. Could you imagine though if I use NordVPN right now? Like for real? No, I'm not gonna use it right now. I'm not. It's dumb. But like, no one's around. If I was to use NordVPN, no one would know. No, wait, where are you going? I mean, look, wait. NordVPN lets you use 6 devices on one account. You can use one of mine. Your boyfriend won't know. Like, watch this. I just type in nordvpn.com/incognito and I get 70% off a 3-year plan and it's done. Where are you going? I can treat you better and keep your data safe with NordVPN. Oh my god. Wouldn't have happened if you got NordVPN.
How does this work?
Ad over. Swedish police set up an undercover agent to infiltrate the ring and to buy the Renoir. The detective would be posing as a representative for an interested buyer who was standing by. But they'd need confirmation that the painting was the real deal. That's him. Art thief?
Yes. Are you the buyer?
That's me. I represent a very wealthy and very interested client. But of course, before we can start negotiating, I need to know that we're talking about the real deal.
All right, mate. Come with me.
The undercover agent followed one of the men into the bathroom.
Okay. What do you think?
That's quite something.
Come on.
My client will be very pleased.
Okay. What do you say to 200k?
That sounds acceptable. In fact, it's quite low. My rich buyer probably would have paid a lot more even.
Whoa. Fantastic. Yes. Hey, get in.
They both washed their hands and exited the cafe. Seconds later, police came screeching around the corner, sirens blazing. Sorry, fellas, it was me the whole time.
Who?
Oh, right, we've never met before. Well, book 'em, boys.
Oh, you fucking mug! Fuck you! I'm gonna fucking take you down to Chinatown!
They had done it. Partially. They had retrieved one of the 3 paintings, and they had a bunch of new leads. The cops rounded up even more members of the gang, among them Alexander Sasha Lindgren and an Iraqi, Baha Kadhum, as well as 3 of his brothers. Now, remember these lads, we'll be coming back to them. But even though they rounded up all these guys, only one man would have charges against him that would stick. The rest walked. And there were still 2 pieces of art out there. Los Angeles, 4.5 years later. Downtown LA. The FBI are working on a routine case. It's a drug bust with some Bulgarians. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Until they heard something unusual.
Yeah, so we've got Renoir's young Parisian for sale.
Is that code for something? Are they human trafficking? Chief, I believe it's that painting that was stolen from the Swedish National Museum a few years back.
Yeah, we want to get it out of the city.
Sounds like it's going to be on the move soon. No one's going to take our credit. We're the FBI, damn it. Infallible. Pillars of competence. So they ramped up surveillance. The Bureau intercepted a call from one of the gang's higher-ups, Boris Kostov. It's time for a good old-fashioned stakeout. The FBI waited outside Kostov's home until they saw him load up a small, painting-sized package into his car's trunk.
Yeah, we got it. I told him to be careful. Should be 8 pairs of rips.
We're going in. Get down, get the fuck down. The FBI swarmed. Kostov surrendered. We've got it, Captain. Haha, the big prize. FBI wins again. So they opened the bag and found... dry cleaning. Yes, really. Shit. Arrest him anyway, boys. So they pull Kostov in. Okay, I'll be good cop, and you also be the good cop, because people like it when you're nice. Good thinking, Captain. Look, here's the thing. You surprised us with the laundry. Those whites. Very white, by the way. I'd like to know who you use. But the thing is, we've been tailing you for months, and we know about the drugs. And that's the bigger deal anyway.
Oh yeah, you got any evidence?
Yeah, all of this. The overwhelming amount of evidence means Kostov is definitely going to be found guilty, and that means possibly 30 years in prison. At his age, this is effectively a life sentence. In a corner, Kostov broke.
Yeah, alright, I know where your paintings are. I want a deal.
Kostov agreed to assist the police. Good choice. Now take us to the paintings. Kostov led the police to a local pawn shop.
Down here.
As they entered the basement, Kostov pointed to an art folio leaning against the wall, wrapped in towels and a grocery bag. They unraveled it, and surely enough, it was the young Parisian. And in good condition, too. Bingo. 2 out of 3. The only one remaining was the Rembrandt. However, with Kostov as an asset, authorities now had a way to find it. Give me the other painting, Kostov.
I don't... But I... Yeah, okay, I got contacts in Sweden.
Wait, no, that one was correct. Say that again.
I know people in Sweden who know where it is.
So it's not here in LA?
No, it's back in Stockholm.
You sly bastards. But how do we know you're telling the truth? Sorry, it's a reflex.
That's okay. Because...
Yes?
Because...
Yeah?
Because the person who has it...
Yes?
...is my own son. Alexander Sasha Lindgren.
Oh my god.
I know, right?
Kostov was willing to incriminate his own son to avoid jail time. Anyway, back to Sweden. In Stockholm, the son, Lindgren, was being pressured by his associates Baha and Dea Kadham. Those are the guys from before, by the way. To sell off the Rembrandt. It's been almost 5 years, dude. Are you gonna sell this thing or not?
Well, I do enjoy looking at it, but I suppose you're right.
The FBI makes a call. Sweden, my man, I got a tip for you. I can't understand you. Speak English. We'll put someone on the line who does. Okay, thanks. Hello? English? Hello? Okay, cool. We have a tip for you. The FBI tells Swedish authorities to put surveillance on Lindgren and the Kadhams. Lindgren, unaware that his father had betrayed him, would be caught up in the sting. The stage was set, but if they were going to pull this off, they would need to call in their top dog. Part scholar, part daredevil. Alright, I have no idea why he's written this way in all the articles, but we're going to go with it. The king of the sting, the defender of Dali, the guardian of Goya, half scholar, half daredevil, and 100% man. With an alignment of chaotic good, he'll teach you about the classics, then he'll teach you to make love. Robert K. Whitman. Part 5. Copenhagen. September 15th, 2005. The meeting had been arranged. The Kadham brothers are on a train from Stockholm, secretly followed by police the whole way. And as they sit in their seats, in the hand of one of the brothers is held a small, painting-sized parcel. Police could have arrested them then and there. They would have had the brothers red-handed. But that wouldn't be enough. It would be a simple possession of stolen goods charge, and the police wanted to catch them in the act of selling the painting. So they stood by. Kostov and Whitman arrived at the Skandik Hotel. The Cadhams and Lindgren made their way too.
Oh, hello. Hey guys.
They said in Swedish.
Do you guys want to do the deal now or grab lunch first?
No, let's just get this over with.
Okay, come with me.
Come on, son. Let's throw the old football around. But Dad, come on, son. Look, Dad, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm proud of you, boy.
Whitman led Cadham up to his room. The room had been thoroughly bugged in preparation.
I hope you like Swedish Corona.
Nice. I'm gonna have to count it, though.
No problem.
Whitman knew he had it. He could see the look in Cadham's eyes as he greedily counted the money.
So, you guys had like a good trip out?
Mm-hmm.
See any, good movies lately? You know, there's a delightful restaurant down.
It's very hard to count when you keep talking.
Oh, okay.
All right, and that's 200,000.
Amazing. 5 years of holding on to this painting, seeing all of his buddies go to jail. For 200 grand, it would all be worth it, and it would be over.
Well, we got a deal.
Baha then stood up and left the room with the cash.
Hey, wait!
Baha went back down the lobby and was making his way to the exit. Wait, what's happening? Baha walked right out the front door of the hotel without saying much of anything. What the hell's going on? Has the deal soured? Has our cover been blown? Is this a cross? Police on standby were starting to get nervous, but Whitman was staying cool. Seconds passed.
Just hold steady.
Minutes passed.
Stay cool.
They're getting away.
Stay cool.
And then they came back with a different bag in hand. It turns out the bag they had before was a decoy. They were using it to see if any cops would be drawn out. Now that the deal seemed solid, they brought the real thing. Got him. Cadham returns to the room, and Whitman examines the painting.
That's the real deal.
Danish SWAT is standing by and ready to swoop. Whitman spoke the code words necessary to launch their raid on the room.
Would you like an orange?
Excuse me?
My favorite color is orange.
Okay.
I mean, orange, you glad? I said orange?
Anyway, thanks for the money, but, we gotta go.
No, wait, let me arrange you a cab.
That's okay, we'll walk.
The SWAT team burst into the room as Whitman jumped into the bathtub, clutching the painting to his chest. The SWAT team quickly overwhelmed the stupefied suspects. The arrests of Baha Cadham, his brother Diea, and the betrayed Lindgren went off without a hitch. Whitman emerged from the bathroom victorious. Women swooned, men swooned, I'm swooning. Jesus, what a man.
Looks like you're caught by the police.
Yes, well done, Whitman. And we would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for your sly doggery.
Thank you. Now, take him away, boys.
Whitman held the painting aloft. It was now safe. He returned it to the Swedish National Museum, and the timing was perfect. Because in just a few days, they would be exhibiting a show on Rembrandt anyway, and they not only had him back, but a story to go along with it. The painting was unveiled as the centerpiece, this time behind glass, and with a specially assigned security guard standing by its side. So the Cadham brothers and Alexander Lindgren were convicted of receiving stolen goods. However, their sentences were overturned by a Swedish appeals court ruling that they had been provoked into the crime. Well done. But, as for our hero, well, Whitman hung up his cape, and nothing has ever been stolen again. The end. Big boys at Dashlane make video happen. Welcome back to In the Field. It's been over a year since I've had young Blake on from Meme Insider. What's new with you? What's new with Meme Insider?
Well, you guys should come check us out. We're getting, like a hot 1,000 views per video, so you could say we're doing pretty well right now. But
you guys had that new video with Frederick Knudsen, though. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Here's a preview of that.
Come to us.
All right. You've all probably seen before these strange clickbait articles that say things like rub a barnacle on your elbow, rub Vaseline in your eyes, and your AIDS will be cured. So we'll have a look at some of those and try to see if there's any credibility to them and dive a little deeper. So obviously we scroll past the news and we get down. Is this the easiest diet ever? How is this not all 4 food types? It's the easiest diet ever. It's all of the food. All right, here we go. We're starting to get into it now. Remember him? Grab tissues before you see him now. What, is he really sexy or something?
Is that the Home Alone guy?
It is the Home Alone guy. Astonishing retro photos that haven't been edited.
Dude, I cannot believe that photo has not been edited.
So this is like the bad advice clickbait. If you've only been using Coca-Cola as a refreshing drink up till now, boy, have you been missing out. Don't take us wrong. We still believe that Coca-Cola is a very useful drink. What do you mean useful drink? But there are many other fantastic uses. After learning just a few of these quick Coke tricks, you might start purchasing more cans more than ever before. See, this is the kind of thing that I would say isn't actually written by anyone. Like, I would say that this is probably written by a robot. I don't believe Maggie Watson exists at all.
Yeah, or if somebody did write it, I don't think she's called Maggie Watson.
Right. Pour Coke into a bowl. Pour it around the rim so it flows over all the stains. Oh, cool. So it looks just like a brown mess. And then let it sit for an hour and get all sticky. Then the acids in the Coke will break down the stains. Flush the toilet. All kinds of bugs are big Coca-Cola fans like us. Is this person English? I don't believe this person speaks English as a first language. They simply love the sweet, fizzy wonder, but without knowing that it can destroy them, and they will be pushing up the daisies if they try to consume it. By the way, you will absolutely not kill ants or cockroaches with Coca-Cola unless you drown them.
You'll just kill your grass.
Yeah, you'll actually just make a whole lot of bugs come to your house. Oh my, imagine spraying Coke, like sticky soft drink, into your cupboards in order to get rid of bugs. This is... That is some of the worst advice.
Oh, watering increases the acidity. I don't freaking believe that. Maybe it's true.
No, this is such a bad... you're gonna get, like, bugs and mold. If you get gum in your hair, just pour some Coke on the gum. This is...
Just pour some Coke on your head.
And then sit there and put some peanut butter in. Yeah, it has to be chewed out. This one is super easy. Fill up your kettle with Coke. This is just people wrecking your house with Coke. Pour it in your cabinets. Pour it in your kettle. Pour it on in your garden. In your toilet.
We're only on number 9. How many more things can you pour Coke on? Defrost. Ice. I don't want to pour Coke on my windshield.
Oh, good. So you get like a sticky windshield. Yeah. Science is out on this one, but Suki Wardhouse swears by Coke as a hair conditioner. Oh, God.
This is to be the thumbnail for the video.
Is it worth it? Is it really worth it? So,
It strips the paint off metal furniture. So you've just sprayed it in your cabinets in order to kill the cockroaches. And then the inside of the cabinets are all just stripping off the paint. Why did they blank out Coke here?
No, don't fix your... You're getting dangerous.
This is a school bus. And there's like 40 kids on board. What's number 20? I want to see the bottom of the barrel.
So how many of these were just, if you pour it on metal, it gets rid of rust?
Who knew you could do so much with just a can of Coke? Which trick were you most inspired by, Blake?
Oh, I want to go find a school bus and just replace all of the pipes with Coke cans. Oh, a brief word from our sponsors. Throwing away banana peels. We got banana peel tips.
Shut up. This is not for this. The very small surge protector thing in your laptop charger is not for the hook that goes at the back of your shirt. Yeah, this one falls under terrible life hacks, I guess. 15 ways to use banana peels. Get rid of acne.
Whitens teeth?
Whiten teeth. Shut up.
Just brush your teeth with a banana.
Helps treat depression.
Are you depressed? Just eat bananas.
No, don't kill yourself. Here, eat this.
Polish your shoes.
Everybody, imagine like, just all the people walking around with like constantly sticky cabinets, cars, shoes.
Do you go to the airport and there's like a shoe shine place, but you just go grab a banana? Shoe shine, sir?
Yeah, only 50p. Shine your shoes. Squish, 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 squish. Improve growth. Yeah, you already did plant food. Feed farm animals. Obviously. Gives Asian twist to your home-cooked meals.
What?
You mean eat the banana. Reduce wrinkles and lines. Trace amounts of lutein. Simply rub the inner banana peel on your face and leave it there for 20 to 30 minutes every day. Like just walking around with like sellotaped banana to your face.
The cigarette odors. Oh yeah, if you just leave rotting bananas, you'll just have a new odor.
Instead of trying to conceal the smell, you can eliminate it completely by leaving a plate of banana peels in your car.
No, that's just gonna give you a
Do
new
this
smell.
repeatedly for a week until the smell is gone.
Dude, I'm never going to have like another issue in my life again between bananas and Coke bottles. Hopefully they... Oh, my throat's a little... Something's in there. I hope they don't make us...
You know what'll fix that? Hold a banana in your throat for 20 to 30 minutes a day.
Wash the residue down with Coke. Notice? Yeah, I actually have noticed the one in the back.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed the serrated edge? Yeah. Have you ever noticed the sharp edge of scissors?
Have you ever noticed the numerical marks on the tape measure?
It's so obvious. Oh, yeah, of course it's for hanging it up. Stupid. What else?
It's like Seinfeld. What's the deal?
With those holes in frying pan. You can't cook with them. And your hand goes right through them. How about the hole in your pasta spoon? It's for straining out the water. Really? Alright, this is the one that's supposed to have the laptop charger in it. Yeah, of course it's for a fucking hanger.
No, it's for charging your laptop.
Brass doorknobs. Is there anything special about them?
It just says, no.
Well, we got to the end of that one. I mean, this is pretty bad, but I'm looking for, like, cure cancer. Australian government shaken by discovery of new underground banking system. Here we go. One man put just $350 in this secret new bank account and watched it grow to more than a substantial amount. Alright, this is the kind of stuff, like obvious scam stuff. He finally found a way to make at least $8,000 to $10,000 a month online. He claims this isn't get rich quick, but everyone with $300 can double or triple their money in a matter of hours.
This isn't a get rich quick thing, but you can get rich real quick, if you know what I'm saying.
K. Watson. Interesting. So, here we are with K. Watson. Kevin Watson, Kathy Watson.
Ketchup? Ketchup.
I wonder if these are all just typos. Let's Google some Kevin Watson.
Kevin Watson Daily News Feed.
Daily News Feed. Daily News Feed. Canadian government shaken. Okay, so that's the same article. And this is Italian government shocked by the. So the. Oh my god. Wait. That's a.
All governments.
Canadian. Oh my god. Wait, I've got an idea. Dun 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 dun. Alright.
That's pretty
cool. We are now in South Africa. Now, if I go to this. Oh, what the hell? Okay, that's interesting. Banks can't keep this from you. Why are you spending your money like an idiot? Don't spend your money. Dollar and no cents. By Simeon Lindstrom. Now that's a name.
So this was the same link, but just in Africa?
And somehow it went to a different website. This URL in incognito mode, it comes up with a different page. But yeah, look, it's the same URL, and I get 2 different pages.
I just want to look up the latter half of the title without the country. British government shaken. Aussie's government shaken. I don't see one for the US. I feel left out.
Okay, at least they change the picture every time. Wow, look at that, 116,000 comments.
So guys, it's my first week on the Bitcoin trading. Everyone's gonna say, it's working.
Oh my god, it links to real people's Facebooks. Yep, these are real people, I think.
Yeah.
Well, if you see your name here, you should probably get in touch with Daniel, because he's using your Facebook.
Yeah.
Unscrupulously. Right, do we ever find out what Simon Lindstrom is from?
He has published a real book, though, it looks like.
Dollars and no cents. Okay. A #1 bestseller? Fuck off. No way. How is this a #1 bestseller of anything? Nothing special.
3 stars. 30 pages. It's only 30 pages. Did you see that comment? They said self-published, only 30 pages.
Jesus Christ. Oh, let's have a look at this fella. Intentional living.
See, that side of her face had banana peels rubbed on it.
That's it. Coke? No Coke. Jesus Christ. He looks like he sells weed.
He does. That's like my first thought.
Let's go to 4chan, because I've seen some bad ads there, and explore them a little further, because, you know, sites like Daily Mail or CNN have to hold some semblance of credibility, but this website doesn't. So we'll open this one. Revolutionary natural hair supplements gets biggest deal in shark cage history.
Is Shark Cage like a knockoff of Shark Tank? Or am I just an idiot and it was called Shark Cage the whole time?
Yeah, I always thought it was the Shark Tank as well. No, yeah, Shark Cage is poker.
Oh,
they mean Shark Tank.
Yeah. Oh, so this is on them.
Yeah, so they seem to have just got that one wrong. All right, well that's fine. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt, because there's 2 doctors here.
Yeah, and obviously with the lower thirds, that's a real screenshot of a real show where it says exclusive, incredible discovery.
After buying a staggering 25% share in the brothers' company, the Shark Cage panel have personally mentored the pair, helping them undergo rebranding and repackaging for their miracle product. A miracle product. Oh my god, look at these endorsements. Kevin Costner.
Follicle Fuel. That's like the least appealing name I've ever heard. Nothing like follicle fuel to rub on myself. If I'm being completely honest though, look at his hairline. Is that what you call a miracle result right there?
Yeah, maybe he only put it on his goatee.
That's true, he just dabbed a little under his chin.
John Travolta as well. Boy, they've got some big endorsements here. Well, things have improved.
Oh, more Facebook comments.
Michael Lewis. I've been using follicle fuel for about a year and already couldn't be happier. My hair has more... That's quite a thing to post on Facebook. Alright, well...
Back to 4chan.
$4 pill that kills erectile dysfunction. These guys are fucking geniuses. It's the same guys.
But there's no exclusive.
This isn't breaking news. This is just regular news. Men and women? What kind of erections are women getting?
James Lewis is on this one too.
Wait a minute, that's not the same James Lewis, is it?
Oh, Michael Lewis. Oh, so this is his twin brother that has the same wife, obviously.
Wow, there's a lot of identical twins here. When I know I'm going to bed with a woman, I no longer worry or be stressed wondering if I'm going to be able to get it up. I know. 13 likes. Imagine posting that to your family and friends. Let's get in contact with James Lewis.
Hell yeah. Let's reach out to him for a more personal testimonial.
Oh, It didn't go to Facebook. It went to follicle fuel.
Hey, there's no banana. It must be false.
Oh yeah, what the fuck? Where's the Coke?
There'd be a banana and Coke.
Contact us. There we go. Let's get some emails going. So what do we say? Sup, you beautiful Beth. Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. Does the miracle supplement really work? I'm asking for a friend, not me. I couldn't help but notice you had endorsements from Kevin Costner, John Travolta, and a host of other abusers in waiting. No, that's too much. Candidates. Also, I don't want a goatee. Couldn't help but notice also that all of the Facebook posters are all twins. Oh, thank you. Are all twins. How do you know so many? Cortez, in particular, had like 8 brothers. Is his mom Octomom? Have you seen what she looks like these days? These 10 photos will shock you. Anyway, if you missed yesterday's video, don't forget to tap right there. Love y'all faces, and I'll
see you tomorrow.
Just gotta complete it. I don't know why I find this funny.
I just like picturing Philip DeFranco saying, "Quick question for you, hotshot." And also attaching a picture of himself to every email he writes.
Alright, number 2. So, these people should also know about the clickbait. AlamoreSkin.com. Is that real? We can buy the domain. This is interesting. Turns out that the domain name for this particular product, although they are paying for ads, doesn't exist. AlamoreSkin.com is an unregistered website. So we've gone ahead and registered it for them, and you can find that secret link of the day in the description below. We need answers. We need big answers, and we need them now. We're going to jump straight into those answers. I'm just going to jump straight into it. We're looking for the big scoop. Can see that you have a lot of connections judging by the sheer number of comments in the comment section below of your product.
I think it might just be more entertaining if Philly D always speaks in the third person in this email. Philly D can see that you have a lot of connections.
So please lead Philly D in the right direction. This email was brought to you by BetterHelp. Have you considered killing yourself? Why not? Try BetterHelp. Anyway, that's been Philly D for you. If you have any questions
Hey people, Seth here. Today, I'll be covering a very niche, very infamous, and very autistic game that everyone's asked me to cover since day one. A game where you and many other real, living people with questionable social intelligence roleplay together on the worst space station in the universe, where aliens, shapeshifters, and traitors working for rival corporations are the least of your concern, where the greatest threat to your own existence are your own crew members. Hungry? Come to the station canteen 14, where the food is definitely poisoned. Injured? Head on down to medical, where half a medication has been relabeled as happy pills. Discouraged? You can try taking a painkiller instead. But it wasn't a painkiller, it was LSD. Having a bad trip? Don't worry, there's a security officer nearby to help, but he can't respond because he was murdered and replaced by a genetically modified monkey wearing his uniform. Hallucinating? Keep calm and focus on what's real. Unfortunately for you, the supermassive black hole expanding towards you is not a hallucination. It is, in fact, very real.
The emergency shuttle has been called.
Welcome to Space Station 13. Space Station 13 has a very simple premise. Everyone has a job. Your objective? Do your best to delay the station's inevitable destruction, either at the hands of antagonists or at the hands of your own incompetent crew. Normally, I give a final score for a game at the end of a video. Not this time. Space Station 13, 10 out of 10, amazing, spectacular, don't play it. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, Space Station 13 is a fantastic game, but I genuinely don't recommend you play it. Why? Because the engine it's running on is probably older than you, because the interface is a convoluted mess, and only usable because me and every other autistic chimpanzee who plays this game has committed the hotkeys to muscle memory because of the insane time investment and commitment required for you to learn a single role, and because, to be perfectly honest, the servers can't handle all of you. At best, we can handle like 30 extra players before you grind the servers to a halt. For all these reasons, Space Station 13 always was and always will be a niche title, and maybe that's for the best. But I can offer you something else. I've already killed your hopes and dreams of playing the game, so instead, let me share some stories of my wonderful experience with Space Station 13. These stories span several years and several different servers, the names of which will forever stay anonymous because I respect their privacy, and because I've received threats from some of the more colorful servers to not mention them by name, or else. What's gonna happen if I don't comply? Are they gonna hire a Bitcoin assassin to run me over with his mobility scooter? Is he gonna stab me with his insulin pen? I don't know, but between you and me, I hate having cum delivered to my mailbox and would prefer to keep it that way. Anyway, I remember the first time playing Space Station very vividly. My friends told me to download it and hop on some shitty server. It had furries and erotic roleplay. More on that later. I entered around as an assistant, my job to give assistance and to get my hands burnt off trying to hack into places I don't have access to. As I'm screwing around with airlock wires, my friend comes running down the hallway, dragging someone's unconscious body. Frantically, he tells me, "Seth, quick, can you open this door?" Sensing the urgency in his voice, I do. He throws the body inside and sprints away. The airlock closes. 3 seconds later, something explodes. What the fuck was that? I ask. Oh yeah, I fed him potassium and water pills. It takes a while to metabolize. My friend had just murdered a man in cold blood by turning his body into a living, ticking potassium bomb. As soon as the man's digestive juices cracked through the potassium tablet, it reacted violently with the water in his stomach and exploded, killing him from inside out. After such a horrific display of homicide, I realized, hey, this game's pretty good. Fast forward a few weeks and I'm learning roles, calling shots, and ignoring every single rule of a server. I also ignored every single rule of medicine. I was a surgeon, top of my class, destined to go where no licensed professional ever has. Also, my friend's girlfriend started playing with us. To put it bluntly, she wasn't very good, but she was very interested in progressing the medical field in any way possible. Cargo had just delivered us some complimentary pizza, as thanks for patching up their boys after they got a little too intimate with the xenomorphs on mining station. Brilliance flashed before my eyes. My pupils widened. I started physically sweating, because she said the words I've always dreamt of hearing. Please, turn me into a pizza. And so, I got to work. Nurse, get me my scalpel, tweezers, protractor, bone gel, and the rest of the unfinished pizza. One horrified clown watched in the operating theater as I cleanly hacked off and cauterized her hands and feet. I opened the pizza box and began attaching her new cheesy limbs. Help! Sec to surgery, the clown blurted out. He's turning her into a Papa John's. The head of medical stormed in with a host of security officers to detain me, but they were too late. Her hands and feet had already been replaced. Surprisingly, she could walk just fine on a pair of pizza feet, but her lack of opposable pizza thumbs meant that she couldn't really hold anything, let alone pick them up in the first place. However, her pizza hands did make for a convenient and portable source of nutrition. Despite her numerous protests that she consented to the surgery, the head of medical demoted me on the spot and banned me from ever practicing medicine, claiming that you can't consent to being a pizza. I was thrown in jail for the rest of the round. Clearly, there was no appreciation for the arts on this station. So, many rounds later, me and my friends found a new purpose, cleaning up the server, one erotic, furry roleplay at a time. Using telecommunications and meta-communications, I expertly pinpointed areas of high homosexual intent, namely the dorm rooms and the showers. As two Khajiit-looking catmen meet privately with one another, they will, inevitably, start writing words such as, "Ooh, Mayak has a barbed prickly surprise for you, my friend," and, yes, not me with your thick Tajaran trunk. This is completely unacceptable. Once an act of high homosexual intent is in motion, several of our men would mobilize. As they groan, moan, and spit out hairballs on each other, a security officer would barge in, flashbang the feline fornicators, and tag team baton them into submission before another officer handcuffs them to the bed. On the other side of a contaminated dorm room, our team's atmospheric technician sets explosive C4 charges against the station glass. Quickly, we evacuate the biohazard exclusion zone and seal the airlocks. Romeo and Juliet barely have enough time to recover from the flashbang before the charges detonate, depressurizing the room and sucking their bodies out into the black vacuum of space. Another job well done. Many explosive decompressions later, erotic roleplay was considered a real occupational hazard. The Tajaran Catboys got creative, started doing group sessions instead, but these were quickly crushed by my friend playing the best roboticist I've ever seen in my life. The airlock doors to their sodomy chamber were welded shut to prevent interruptions, so he drilled right through them with a gigantic combat mech. The air inside was heavy with a sickly sweet smell of wet fur balls and toxoplasmosis. The furries didn't even have time to react before he started unloading shell after shell of flashbang grenades, and thus we all got banned. We paid the price. But to see half the server get flashbanged unconscious for 10 minutes straight, priceless. The server didn't last long anyway. The admin's mom shut it down as soon as she saw the electricity bill, so me and my friends went on to enrich other servers. I even got good at being a chemist. In other words, I always stole the syringe gun at the start of a round and filled it with lethal doses of chloral hydrate, for my own protection, of course. I also gave whatever chemical anyone requested, which gives me some moral ambiguity and 2 degrees of separation from any pranks or murders that took place as a result of said chemicals. If a clown asks for space lube, he's gonna get space lube. One time, a clown managed to lube the entire hallway outside of medical, all the way to departures. Now, departures is usually the place where the escape shuttle docks to get us out of our quickly burning heap of a station. However, if there's no call for a shuttle, departures is completely empty, besides the airlock, which the clown had hacked open. Several people came running through medical, slipped on the space lube, and accelerated themselves face first into the infinite vacuum of space. Security figured out it was the clown, and in true security fashion, also slipped on the space lube. With most of the crew floating around dead in space, the station had to be evacuated. He was later banned from playing clown ever again. Several rounds later, I finally spawned as a traitor.
Mission specifications decrypted. Welcome to the Syndicate.
And I had no idea what I was doing, but I wanted my first time to be special. Conveniently, an assistant comes in, bleeding all over, because he was probably trying to break into the armory without insulated gloves. His character sprite had maximum melanin and an afro. His roleplay friendly name was Madick, an idiot, but a useful idiot. There were no medical staff on hand except me, so I said, "Hey, I know a little bit of surgery, let me fix you up." I put put him under general anesthetic, and took out my syndicate PDA. With this, I can discreetly teleport a few traitor items into my inventory to help me achieve my objective, which in this case was murdering the head of security. I ordered 2 sets of voice-activated explosives, which trigger upon hearing the recorded code phrase. I set this to the word most likely to be spoken by this mentally retarded human being. Can you guess what that is? I surgically opened his ass and inserted the first of the explosives. Then I lodged the second one neatly inside his chest cavity. Closing them up, I took off the anesthetic and began to put my plan in action. I would arm this simple-minded moron with illegal weaponry, with a hopes that security would detain him on possession charges. I gave him all the LSD, all the chloral hydrate syringes, and an entire spray bottle of space lube. I had expertly equipped him to be the ultimate griefing machine. Proud of my work, I gave him a hug and set him loose on the world. But just before he left medical, he turned around and said, "Thanks, nigger." And we both exploded. My other times playing antagonist went about just as well. Once I started as the leader of a cult. Our objective was to seize control of the station and sacrifice our mortal bodies to summon a physical manifestation of our dark god. However, I wasn't very good at it, and neither were my servants. We found a nice, quiet, and most importantly, abandoned bar near the north end of the station, which we began redecorating with our own blood. You see, cultists need to learn a set of ancient words that's randomly generated every round. If you arrange them in the right order, you can perform different spells and rituals to advance your goals. We didn't get far, because the most dangerous thing to an incompetent cult is a single crew member doing their job. The fucking janitor found us. We tried to negotiate, convince him that it's actually crayon and not blood all over the floor, but that didn't work, so we tried to murder him instead. That didn't work either. He used his mop to slip us with soapy water and ran off to call security. As you can see, I'm not very proficient at being a traitor. More often, I find myself being abused by traitors. Some of the worst offenders in this regard are definitely wizards, since wizards have a bad tendency to sexually abuse me as well. Not too long ago, me and my friends played a round that was already in progress. As soon as we entered, we realized something was very wrong. An announcement played on the radio. Penis Inspection Day is in effect. All crew members must report to Doc Johnson for their mandatory penis inspection. Doc Johnson was, very clearly, a wizard. I knew what was coming, and yet I resigned myself to fate and went to medical reception. Doc Johnson was overjoyed to have new patients. He led me to a private room, asked me if I'm circumcised, and told me that I passed the inspection with flying colors. What a surprise, I thought. He's not actually gonna grief me. But I was wrong. As I turned away to leave, he blew off my ass magically. Hey, it's wizardry. I ain't gotta explain shit. Anyway, Doc Johnson is a terrible doctor. He left me bleeding on the floor as he took my ass cheeks and used them as a hat. Highly unprofessional, would not recommend. A round of Space Station 13 can be very intense. At other times, it can be very slow-paced and almost relaxing. If you're not a traitor and you don't have anything urgent to handle, you can always just roleplay and get comfy in a bar, while the piano plays anime songs and the jukebox plays whatever deep-fried ASMR bullshit people keep putting on. It's a very wholesome experience, and it helps you get emotionally invested with the other members of your crew, which are often nice people. However, security is often staffed by egotistical megalomaniacs acting out their most depraved power fantasies. They are often not nice people. As a result of their inherent propensity to be insane sociopaths, the rest of the crew will often rebel against their tyranny. In one such case, cargo had declared independence. Security refused to recognize the independent station state of Cargonia, so they tried to barge their way in and arrest everyone involved, including me, but security was unprepared for the trap we had in store. One officer rushed into cargo bay and slipped on a banana peel straight into the conveyor belt waiting for him. He tried repeatedly to get back up, only to be tripped again by an ocean of banana peels on the conveyor belt, which looped around in a circle. Surrounding that circle was another circle, composed entirely of vending machines. The officer was also being brutally assaulted by several hundred cans of soda. The vending machines were hacked, and as a result, they would continuously fire drinks at whoever is in the area. Each officer that slipped into the banana belt got smashed unconscious by a relentless stream of Discount Dan soda. Trademark, all rights reserved. After extensive head trauma by our soda turrets, security reluctantly accepted Cargonia's independence and their right to bear arms. If there's one department that has more revolutions than cargo, it would have to be science, and it's easy to understand why. We spend our lives researching away for the good of the station, which does of course carry its own share of risks and hazards. Sometimes accidents happen. Sooner or later, some bored and mentally challenged assistant will try and put a bag of holding into another bag of holding, and security can't always comprehend that we're not directly responsible for the resulting black hole eating through the kitchen. This lack of appreciation for the scientific profession usually ends with arrest warrants for the whole department, which is usually answered back with the words, "I'd like to see you try." But when we're not having a nuclear arms race with security, R&D is actually quite a chill department. I also made a great discovery last time I played there. Me and another scientist were messing around with blueprints and eventually made ourselves a pneumatic cannon. Normally, these are used to launch whatever items you have inside. What we didn't know was that it could launch food as well. I loaded a lasagna, aimed for the mouth, and fired it at my fellow researcher. The lasagna disappeared. "What the hell? That's amazing," he said. "We just realized what happened. I had just managed to remotely force feed my fellow man. But what do we do with this forbidden knowledge? Nothing good, that's for sure." My comrade got to work asking chemistry for hallucinogenic drugs. They said no. So we built our own chemistry dispensers, filled up the beakers with happy juice, and ran straight to the kitchen. We injected all the donuts and Hot Pockets we could find with as much LSD and mind-breaker toxin as they could hold. Then we loaded them into our food delivery system and started firing off at everyone in the hallways. The food was instantly delivered. The crew was instantly satisfied. Several people, including security officers, managed to see the two small lines of text indicating that they've just been fed something. They thought it was extremely clever and said they didn't know the pneumatic cannon could do that. Since it was just a bit of harmless fun, we got off scot-free. Minutes later, the hallucination started. Crew members started screaming on the radio. Some were puking, shaking, or convulsing on the ground. Medical couldn't keep up with the bodies. They piled on too quick, and most of the doctors were too busy fighting off non-existent entities to do anything about it. The chemist, who originally refused to give us LSD, was arrested by security on suspicion of intentional food poisoning. It was complete pandemonium, and I think it illustrates perfectly the chaos that is Space Station 13. That's all I have for you today, folks. There is, of course, more stories to tell, but we'd literally be here for hours. Space Station 13, a marvelous, unique, and incredibly shitty game. 10 out of 10, don't play it, because if you do, they're gonna blame it on me, and I hate having cum in my mailbox. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. On other news, I started a Subscribestar account, so if you'd like to invest and don't want to give your money to Patreon, now you can. A warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild, generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful. Have a good one.
In 2125, I was on a mining colony on Mars. Just a quiet backwater facility.
Hey people, Seth here. After a long and healthy life, my old microphone now sounds like this. So, I had to put it down, and I got a condenser mic. I have no idea what I'm doing. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Today, I'll be covering Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl. Actually, I lied. I'll be reviewing all of the Stalker games at once, and the novel this universe is based on, Strugatsky's Roadside Picnic. Stalker's premise is very simple. You play as a delinquent Gopnik who's just broken into a fenced-off exclusion zone in Chernobyl, Ukraine, which is actually based on a fictional country here in Europe. If the legends are true, the mythical nation of Ukraine produces most of the bootleg cigarettes and prostitutes we find in Europe today. But everyone knows this is just a fairy tale. However, in this world there was no nuclear meltdown, nor any subsequent cover-up by the infallible, benevolent Soviet Union. Instead of nuclear fallout, we have an expanding circle of land where the laws of physics don't apply, filled with all manner of strange anomalies and mutated wildlife that wants to kill you. Why did you come here? No one knows. Thousands of men serving hundreds of interest groups have come before you. What makes your ideology any different? Some claim they want to contain it, others study or even protect it from the outside world. In truth, there is no single rational answer. We have no reason to be here, but we're drawn to it, fascinated by it, and afraid of it. But no matter what, we can't resist its siren call. Welcome to the Zone. The zone, while physical in the games, is more of a metaphorical concept. The zone represents our anxious and often fatal curiosity, our hopes and dreams, and ultimately, our darkest desires. Rumors of the zone spread throughout our planet. Talk of mutants, weird events, and bizarre artifacts that defy our understanding begin to haunt everyone's imagination. And of course, the promise of treasure beyond your wildest dreams. Stalker is like the discovery of a new world. Everyone wants to go out into the great unknown and give smallpox to the Aztecs, and maybe even leave behind several dozen illegitimate mutant children which now lack a father. This is Seth reminding you that being a deadbeat dad isn't cool, even if your son is a malformed, hideous abomination and an insult to God's earth. Take responsibility and kill him yourself. As for the gameplay itself, it's a sandbox survival shooter, and it plays very tightly for a shooter. Most of the guns feel really good. When you're not shooting, you'll be exploring and investigating the world, avoiding anomalies and trying to get those sweet artifacts that justify the health risk. The zone has its own black market economy of selling artifacts back to governments, research groups, and private collectors. Sadly, you're at the bottom end of this lucrative pipeline. You're like a cocaine farmer in Colombia. Your life is short, miserable, and underpaid, and you're easily replaceable. The average artifact typically goes for about $20 on the black market, barely enough to restock your ammunition and buy some typical Slavic cuisine: canned tuna, kielbasa, and stale bread. And of course, Monster Energy Zero Ultra, the USSR drink of choice. For added immersion, I recommend eating Stalker cuisine in real life. Luckily, my house has all of the aforementioned dishes. My bread is just a little bit more fragrant than the zone's. For even more immersion, you can try going outside. Who knows what sort of artifact lookalikes you'll find. Oh look, a gravy, and here's a stone blood, and here's a used hypodermic needle. These only appear in the extremely rare Junkie Crack Den anomaly. How curious. For Westerners, Stalker is a game about surviving a harsh, unforgiving place where there's no one to help or rescue you, human contact is limited, and you're left isolated from the outside world. For Slavs, Stalker is a simulation of everyday life, surviving a harsh, unforgiving place where there's no one to help or rescue you, human contact is limited, and you're left isolated from the outside world. How accurate you want the simulation to be is based on the difficulty you pick. Ah yes, the 4 genders: rookie, stalker, veteran, and master. Lowering the difficulty results in more mutations in the people, as they develop genetic adaptations to bullet fire and employment. For this reason, it's completely fine to learn a game on Stalker difficulty, but if you find that firefights take too long, I recommend bumping it up to Master. It's a strange way to do difficulty, but it makes sense once you're comfortable with the mechanics. If you're interested in playing all the games, the natural order would be Shadow of Chernobyl, Call of Pripyat, and then Clear Skies. If you only have time for one of them, play Pripyat. If you want even more, install Call of Chernobyl. It links every game map, and you can play as any faction, including bandits. It also removes almost all English voice acting from the game, which is far more fitting to the atmosphere, as there's many words to describe the average Russian, and bilingual is not one of them. Despite how hostile the zone is, it can also be quite comfy. Sitting around the campfire with other stalkers and listening to them play guitar and tell jokes in Russian is a very pleasant and homey experience, and gives you temporary relief from the choking isolation and dread you'll feel everywhere else. Admittedly though, bandit camps have some of the best music. Unsurprisingly, this game is pretty fucking spooky at times. The mutants of the zone grunt, squeal, and lunge at you with a moment's notice, and they have a habit of doing it whenever your guard is down. Luckily, some of the most dangerous mutants are extremely rare.
In a perfect world, men like me would not exist. But this is not a perfect world.
But surviving an encounter with one of them will leave you shaken and traumatized. Call of Pripyat is the most developed of the free titles. Hunting for artifacts becomes more than just platforming and throwing screws at vibrating pockets of air. You now have different devices to help you spot and locate artifacts invisible to the human eye, which now also appear inside and around the formation of different anomalies. One wrong move and you'll be torn apart, shocked, or incinerated. Luckily, some of the anomalies are much more benign and harmless than others.
Mark 1, what the hell?
In Call of Pripyat, they also added emissions. Emissions exist to make you shit your pants and disrupt whatever plans you had. These are incredibly violent energy storms originating from the Chernobyl National Power Plant. And if you receive a warning that a blowout's about to happen, you better get the fuck inside unless you want to die a horrible, horrible death. Anything and anyone who can't get to cover on time will be fried to a crisp, and that's if you're lucky. For those who weren't so lucky, they'll get back up and continue their routine as a hollow, unresponsive husk. The anomalies described in the book are much less forgiving. Accidentally rub against a transparent strand of web, you'll die from a heart attack hours later. Were you near the zone when the visitors came, you're forbidden from ever leaving, and you'll be shot on sight if you dare try, because whatever city you'll go to will be devastated by natural disasters until you die. The games and the book also diverge heavily in plot, since in Strugatsky's Roadside Picnic, the title of the book says it all. Visitors stopped by our world and left as quickly as they arrived, leaving behind their trash and waste, the remains of a messy picnic. But their trash is our treasure. Everything in the zone is fantastical and beyond our comprehension. Room temperature superconductors, invasive species of cotton, which exclusively grow on metal surfaces, and infinite batteries, which asexually reproduce, are just some of the wonders left by the visitors, who are so impossibly more advanced than us that we couldn't even catch a glimpse of what they are. In Stalker, the zone is a man-made disaster through some psychic pseudoscience bullshit, which I honestly suspect is just an excuse to make you go through the worst linear sections of the game, because Ivan spent a lot of time making those 3D models, and by God, you're gonna appreciate it. To summarize briefly, a bunch of scientists merged their brains together to form the Sea Consciousness, a superior consciousness capable of changing the planet's novosphere, an informational field surrounding Earth, in order to remove negative emotions like anger, greed, and being a foot fetishist. Their interference spawned the zone, which has been expanding ever since. To make matters worse, their efforts backfired. Foot fetishes were instead replaced by scat, and that extremely specific category of porn where the camera keeps zooming in to the guy's taint. Realizing what evil they've unleashed on the world, the scientists are now actively trying to contain the zone. In Shadow of Chernobyl, you can either help or kill them. In Clear Skies, you get brainwashed by them. In Call of Pripyat, you meet Strelok from the first game, and after he tells you that, canonically, he kind of killed the scientists and there's nothing to contain the zone anymore, everyone realizes it's time to get the fuck out of here. The ending section of each Stalker game universally sucks dick. Holy shit! Let me go through narrow corridors where everyone is armed with futuristic hit-scan energy weapons that kill you if they hug your little toe. Hey, you can also keep replaying dialogue from the Wish Granter on repeat every few seconds. What an amazing, unforgettable experience, which I wish I never had. Once you reach the Chernobyl National Power Plant, do yourself a favor and format your hard drive, because that's going to be a much more fun experience than anything still in store for you. And while the rest of the game is universally enjoyable, there is one exception. Clear Skies. Most people abandon Clear Skies because it probably has the worst introduction to any game ever made. You start the game and get dumped in a shitty swamp, equipped with guns that can shoot for 3 meters before the bullets enter another quantum reality and vanish forever. At some point, you'll have to leave a shitty swamp. You might be tempted to fight the 2-3 billion bandits that procreate in the warehouses. You might even be tempted to take the exit shown on the map. Both of those will result in your death. Taking the indicated exit will put you right next to a military cordon where a machine gun will shred you to pieces. No, the correct thing to do is ignore the swamp, enter the cordon, see the machine gun, fuck off back to the swamp, and take the new exit, which is safely north of your original one. If you have the 200 plus IQ necessary to get past that rough beginning, Clear Skies is probably the hardest of the three. The game does not give a shit how much it throws at you, but holy fuck, it has some of the best and most drawn out firefights I've ever experienced in a single player shooter. Of course, in terms of atmosphere, the first game really set the tone. It's never too much, it's just the right dose of Soviet-era depression bleeding into your senses. Just keep in mind that the base game took 1 billion patches to actually run stably half the time. Smacking mods on top of that is just asking for trouble. XR Engine is an engine that may work one day and blue screen the next. Its internal workings are a subject of speculation and mystery, even to the Ukrainian computer engineers who originally coded it using Microsoft Paint on Windows Bandera. The engine is sensitive, fragile, and fickle, and if it really completely stops working, I recommend you roll back your NVIDIA drivers, which somehow magically fixes everything. I understand that this is the most poorly structured and ill-advised review I've ever made, but I thoroughly recommend every Stalker game, and I especially recommend you to read Roadside Picnic. You can buy a copy of each game for about $1 a piece, and the English translation of the book is of course available online for free. The games defy explanation, and capturing the feeling and tone of them is not something you can recreate by video alone. It's a lot of fun, and well worth experiencing at least once in your life. And if you've already experienced it, well, there's still more mods out there than you can play in a single, natural lifespan. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. That content will be better structured. A warm thank you to the many members of the Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all wonderful. Have a good one.
Magasz bym zamiar Sama dogar kam samogar Indaga derbubul Indaga derbubul Turga turga kaszyć wam Wyrga dirga kara myrga Indaga derbubul Dermedol baykol Khınzi barşımızın babara Indagadır bu bol Indagadır bu bol Indagadır bu bol
Hey people, Seth here. Tonight I'll be covering one of my favorite RPGs, a cult classic that brings you back no matter how many times you finished it. Do you love shopping at Hot Topic? Do you hate natural sunlight? Have you ever wanted to suck off the homeless? If you answered yes to any of those, then I know exactly the game for you. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, released in 2004 by Troika Games. Bloodlines takes place in modern-day LA, but our story begins in the Old Testament. So, to understand the lore, I'll need you all to whip out your Bibles and flip to Genesis 4. Remember Cain and Abel? In the Bible, the two brothers made offerings to God. Abel offered the Lord some lamb chops. Cain gave him some Weetabix or some shit. Naturally, God liked Abel's offer a lot more. So Cain disabled his brother by murdering him with a fucking rock. God was very unhappy with Cain for killing his brother. Nah, God doesn't give a shit. Cain's crime was murdering his brother and then having the audacity to lie to God. In the Bible, God punishes Cain to wander the earth. In Vampire the Masquerade, God punishes Cain by giving him superpowers.
Cain, for crimes against your creator and your fellow man, I sentence you to immortality. I'm also giving you super speed and super strength. You can also turn invisible. Would you like to polymorph as well? Sometimes I like to turn into a burning bush and scare the shit out of Moses.
Anyway, God turns Cain into the first vampire. The only downside, he can't walk in the light and he has to drink the blood of others to survive. God's true punishment is giving Cain the ability to sire children. But with immortality, the only thing left to fear is death itself. That fear becomes paranoia, jealousy, hatred, not for humans, but for your own kind. And that fear ends up consuming you. Just as Cain murdered his brother, he is now forced to watch for all eternity as generations of his own children murder each other. Where do you come into all of this? You're a random schmuck who gets embraced against your will in a seedy LA hotel. When you wake up, you're a vampire. But before you get comfortable, the Camarilla boys break in, stake for both of you, and ship you off to vampire court. Turns out, siring vampires without permission is a big no-no and a violation of a masquerade, which is basically a loose set of rules to keep mortals from finding out about the supernatural, and from realizing that Vladimir Tepes was, in fact, a high-level Tsimisi who turned Romanians into dining chairs, because if humans ever found out, that's a guaranteed death sentence for every vampire on Earth. The judges make their verdict. Your sire gets decapitated by Magilla Gorilla, the African muscle man behind Sebastian LaCroix, Camarilla Prince of LA. And you're next on the chopping block. Oh well, at least you got laid. However, Nines Rodriguez, leader of the LA Anarchs, protests against your immediate execution. Suddenly struck with a flood of emotion and newfound empathy, LaCroix decides to spare you your life. Instead, he sends you off on a suicide mission to get killed somewhere else. Clueless and alone, you're thrown into this game as an unwilling pawn in a world of darkness.
What? Oh, man. And you're a goddamn Malkavian, too. Wow. You really are fucked.
But as with any chess game, if you underestimate the pawn, you've already lost. Survive, understand, and identify the other pieces on your board. Once you do, you'll have to make a choice between being a player and being a pawn. And I should warn you, a pawn is always sacrificed to protect the king. Before you start, you have to pick your clan. There are 7 to choose from. They're generally very interesting and offer unique approaches to the game. Bruja and Gangrels are hobos and furries, respectively. They're very hot-tempered and have poor impulse control. Tremere can do this. They're basically undead blood mages. Toreador are the very definition of vampire sluts. Being a room temperature piece of ass does have its advantages though, and lets you get what you want without conflict. Ventru are like vampire aristocracy. Basically, they're assholes who think they're too good for sucking off the homeless. Don't say that to their face, though, or you might find your neck snapped. Nosferatu are hideously deformed. Women ignore you or call the police when they see your face.
Yeah, what'll it be? Oh! Oh, wait, Jesus!
Damn, man! Don't be sneaking up on a brother with your crackhead skin disease test tube baby looking ass! Damn near shit my pants! I don't sell no soap, so what the hell you want?
So, really, no different from being alive. Malkavians are batshit insane. Their curse makes them unhinged, unstable, and even worse, completely lucid and prophetic. They can also spread this insanity to others. As a result, they've got some of the best interactions and dialogue options in the entire game, which may or may not include talking to stop signs and being interrogated by your own television.
And that the source of the detonation possibly came from you. Hey, heard anything? Kind of musky.
It's no small secret that Clan Malkavian is my favorite. If it's your first time playing Bloodlines, I recommend playing any clan which isn't Malkavian or Nosferatu. Why? Because the Madness Network isn't random. It's foreshadowing. It's knowledge you know but shouldn't. And all these revelations will go over your head when you can't make sense of it. Also, getting spotted out in the open is an instant Masquerade violation for Nosferatus, which could result in your immediate death. It's better for seasoned players who already know who and where everyone and everything is. Also, I hope you like sewers, because you're gonna be seeing a lot of sewers as a Nosferatu. Hope you pack snacks. But why would I play this old-ass game a second time, Seth? I got a lot of stuff to do. I got a reading to catch up on. Because, you goddamn zoomer, the game isn't very long. Length isn't the point of it. It's the choices you make. And there's a lot of different choices you can take depending on your character, which come back to help or haunt you in the future. It's a very well contained and believable world that never breaks your suspension of disbelief. You might be turned off by the vampires, and to tell the truth, I was too. So was my mom, and now she's probably finished the game more times than me, because this game isn't about vampires, the undead, or the supernatural. It's about humans, and regardless of whether they're mortal or damned flesh, they all act, think, and feel human. They've got real fears, hopes, and motivations which drive their character. Every single character, no matter how central or insignificant they are to the plot, are written fantastically well. And that's the main praise you hear for this game. The story and the dialogue, which has some goddamn amazing voice acting.
I am the proprietor and salesman of the month several years in a row. The ladies call me, oh God, but you can call me Fat Larry with a F-A-T, cause I know I got a weight problem, I just don't give a fuck.
I see your face is not so lifeless. Your nerves not so deadened that you cannot express shock. Tell me, child, is my appearance that frightening? Or is it my knowledge of you that is so unnerving?
Hey! Welcome to Zhang's Herbal Remedies. I am Zhang. How may I assist you? Selling remedies is honest work. I came to America after discharge from Chinese Herbal Remedies forces to help aging parents restore. Definitely, I am now American citizen. God bless the Allegiance flag. Chinese invented gunpowder. Yes, I know guns. Hold on, please. These are good remedies for many problems. No credit cards.
Kids don't know nothing.
No more Yankee my wanky. The finger need food.
Through most of the game, you're given tasks to complete by LaCroix. These serve as the main quest line, and you'll need to finish them to progress the story and unlock new locations. You'll get to meet the other major powers in LA as well. There's the Camarilla, which uphold the status quo and enforce the Masquerade religiously, Anarchs, who respect the Masquerade but hate the politics and hierarchy of a Camarilla, the Sabbat, who don't give a shit about the Masquerade and seek dominion over mankind, and finally, there's the Kuei Jin, Asian vampires that have recently moved into Chinatown and filled it with gacha machines. They use the negative chi formed by gambling, organized crime, and gacha balls to fuel their aggressive business practices. Besides the main story, there's dozens of side missions to complete. None of these are your standard fetch quests either. They force you to think and decide for yourself how to best approach them. Completing missions is important, since that's your only way of getting the experience points necessary for upgrading your character. Most of them can be resolved peacefully by talking or stalking. Some of them, however, cannot. And whether it's from other vampires or the same dude in a wife beater, copy-pasted 200 times, violence is inevitable. So building your character to be a smooth-talking, anemic slug might not be the best idea. There's a lot of nightclubs in this game, by the way. They're a good place to feed. They've also got some pretty good music. You can also dance. Even outside, there's some very nice ambience to fit the mood. It makes you feel like you're actually there. This This game taught me that Santa Monica is a shithole, so don't feel bad about the people you kill there. In a way, you're saving them from the pain of living in Santa Monica. Bloodlines controls quite simply. You play it in first person while interacting with objects and NPCs, and you pan out to third person whenever you're in combat. Combat can be enjoyable, but mostly it is not enjoyable. Combat boils down to mashing left click while desperately scrolling with your mouse wheel and smashing right click to reactivate blood buff. Oh yeah, every clan's got vampire superpowers or disciplines unique to their bloodline. Many of these cost a lot of blood to use, but they're visually impressive, they can end fights instantly, and they break the monotony of endless button mashing while hoping and praying that your enemy's life bar is smaller than your own. You could use guns instead, but unless you've invested skill points into firearms, you might be dead by the time you take a shot. Outside of combat, you'll be doing everything from investigating serial murders to evicting unfriendly spirits out of hotels. The Ocean House Hotel is there to remind you that just because you're a spooky bloodsucker doesn't mean you're not capable of terror. The Ocean House is so infamous that it's got its own console command to skip the entire sequence. It's probably one of the best horror segments I've ever seen in a game, and they managed to do it without a single jump scare, just a feeling of pure condensed dread. Your inventory is conveniently infinite, so you never have to worry about space. You'll pick up useful items like blood bags and firepower, and less useful items like birth control and estrogen pills. This game's difficult, and there's a few frustrating points in the story that might make you quit. Point number 1, Hollywood sewers. At some point in the story, you have to find the Nosferatu, as they've gone into hiding for reasons unknown. This has nothing to do with a 3 billion Samisi flesh puppets clogging up every sewer drain, and you're gonna have to fight them all, including this big bitch who throws spare ribs at you. Also, there's no blood down in the sewers, so I hope you brought an entire fridge supply of blood with you. Good luck. Luckily, the unofficial patch fixes this completely. The Good Old Games copy comes with a patch pre-installed, so you can take a convenient shortcut and save yourself the pain of going through this programmed hell. Point number 2, Werewolf Park. In this universe, werewolves are incredibly rare, but they're also invincible killing machines. In fact, you can't fight this puppy at all. It's immune to damage and can stun lock you to death in several swipes. This all happens in a span of 5 seconds, so most players never even get the chance to understand what the fuck is going on before they meet their final death. Again, and again. Even though it kills you in 5 seconds, you're expected to survive for about 5 minutes. Oh, and forget about regenerating your health. Werewolf claws burn through your flesh, so it can't be healed back. However, after years of dying to that same werewolf, I found out you can actually kill it. What the hell? How was I supposed to know that you're actually meant to run into the observatory, flick the circuit breaker outside, run back in, open the dome, lure it into the dome, and crush it to death? How the hell was I supposed to know that? The answer is, I didn't. I had to look it up on the wiki. After years of suffering through the same mission each playthrough, this is oddly satisfying. However, if you can endure past those rough patches in the story, you'll start piecing together what's going on. The concern and focus of every major faction in LA is in one way or another centered on the arrival of a certain archaeological treasure, the Ankaran sarcophagus, which throughout the game has a bad habit of getting stolen. What's inside? Who knows? An old Assyrian king or a slumbering antediluvian, one of the oldest granddaddy vampires out there, who, if you traced your blood far back enough, might be one of your original fathers. Half the city believes the latter. They also believe that the moment Father Dearest wakes up from his slumber, he's gonna be hungry. Real hungry. And he'll sate that hunger by feasting on his children. Wherever we go, it is the blood of Cain which makes our fate. Your fate and the fate of the Ankaran sarcophagus are inescapably intertwined. Will you open up the sarcophagus or seal it away for all eternity? That choice is up to you. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. A very unique, flawed, and fantastic diamond of a game. Terrible combat, 0 out of 10. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. I'm just fucking with you. 10 out of 10. One of my favorite and one of the most replayable RPGs of all time. There's very few games out there that keep pulling you back over and over again and still manage to make each playthrough different, and this is one of them. Go buy it. Go play replay it. You won't regret it. Get sucked into the atmosphere. Get a craving addiction for it and replay it every few years for the rest of your natural life, because there's nothing quite like it. A warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild, generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful.
You're going to get a visitor at your door next week. Don't open door! It's Jehovah's Witness. They're so annoying.
Hey, I could use a Halloween-looking S&M gremlin like yourself to help haunt some people out of some loot for me.
Ah, let's see what we got on good old camera 3. Oh, well, hello there. I've been thinking about you, oh yeah. I want to lick you all over. Then make my way down to your creamy center and... What the... Get your hands off my Bavarian cream!
You're going to go to a fancy restaurant. You're going to order snails. Don't eat them! That's disgusting! Snail very dirty.
Bill's here. Gotta run. Great breakfast, honey.
Have a good day, dear. I'm glad you liked the muffins.
Hey, what's that on the counter? That's not my margarine. That's butter.
It's...
Bitch! You know I'm supposed to watch my LDL levels.
I thought it would be a nice change. You couldn't even tell.
You don't want a divorce. You're trying to kill me. I'm glad I slept with your sister.
I thought it was margarine grade B butter. Well, the rancid taste of margarine with all the saturated fat of butter.
Ah, love will find you next week. Don't stay in love too long. Husband find you too.
Does your penis always seem to be getting in the way?
I got the last of the groceries, honey. I just need to close the trunk.
Wow! One more nail and this birdhouse will be as good as new.
Yo!
I'm sorry, sir. This dressing room is for women only.
You don't have to let this happen to you. Hi, I'm Dr. Fred Tuck. Don't let your penis interfere with the quality of your life anymore. I have performed over 300 sex changes in my career, and not one of my patients has ever asked for their tackle box back. Come to Tuck's Sex Exchange in the next month, and I'll give you a free estimate. Don't let your peace interfere with your peace of mind.
Tuck's Sex Exchange, located off Beverly Drive.
Next time you get on plane, change seat to exit row. This makes sure you not sit next to big fat ass.
Camera 79, nothing. Camera 80, nothing. Camera 81, hey, it's me. Hey there, Chunk. Doing a fine job. Keep up the good work, mate.
Last year, Democratic candidate Michael Rembrandt bought a sports utility vehicle. 3 months later, there were 2 separate incidences of hit and runs by an unidentified SUV in his area. Is Democratic candidate Michael Rembrandt to blame? Can you afford to take that chance? Can your children? Vote Republican Senator Robert Thorne, a candidate that has never committed vehicular homicide. Democratic candidate Michael Rembrandt has never publicly stated his opinion on child pornography. Is it because he's hiding something? Would you want a child pornographer voting on this nation's laws? Would you trust your children's future to someone like that? Vote Republican Senator Robert Thorne, the candidate that is committed to locking up child pornographers. Democratic candidate Michael Rembrandt recently sued Senator Robert Thorne for accusing Rembrandt of being a murderous child pornographer. But Rembrandt had previously said he was against clogging up courts with frivolous lawsuits. Wouldn't this make him a hypocrite? Would you want a hypocrite as your next congressman? Would you want your children to become hypocrites? Vote Republican Senator Robert Thorne, a candidate not accused of being a murderous child pornographer.
Sorry, this is the only chance you get. Good night, and have a pleasant week.
The Ouroboros Cycle, Part 1. There are a lot of SCPs on the SCP Wiki, thousands of them in fact, and among the most notable of these entries are the various proposals for the 001 slot. I've already done a video discussing a number of these proposals, but in sheer size and scope, none of the proposals at this time can compete with the Ouroboros Cycle. This is the first topic I've covered on this channel that I've chosen to deliberately break up into a multi-part series due to its size. And although the cycle comprises 4 separate parts, there very well could be more than 4 videos. The 4 parts of the cycle are connected to one another, sometimes more blatantly than other times, but they do comprise a singular story. A story involving reality benders, death, destruction, ineptitude, power struggles, gods, humans, and multiple different groups of interest and persons of interest. Viewing my previous videos will help you prepare for this mini-series, but as always, I'll attempt to explain to the best of my ability. Let's begin then with the first part, the children. The individual accessing this file is one of the O5 Council, O5-13, and we see that the children are a Thaumiel SCP, meaning they assist the Foundation in some way with containing other anomalies. They are contained underneath a former church in Mexico, which is designated a military waste disposal site, with drones instructed to kill anyone coming within 10 kilometers. A note by O5-2 states that a number of other false 001 items have been added to the database to protect the secrecy of this one, and the info on this file should be drowned in mimetic kill agents. Apparently, the O5 Council really wants to keep whatever the children are a pretty big secret. So let's find out exactly what they are. The children are 9 human beings, aged 4 to 11, who gained anomalous properties after some sort of project occurred. They were improperly used, which we'll understand in a bit, which resulted in the death of a high-ranking staff member.
Okay. Bup, 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 bup.